it just felt really good. Fantastic even. I had a lot of fun judging the pictures. It was like being at a sporting event, ice skating championships.
Tell me about the sort of material you've seen today, the sort of pictures you've seen today, and maybe how hard it was to decide.
Well, I've seen all kinds of material, like oil pastels, paints, pencil crayons, all kinds of artwork. It was difficult deciding some of them though, because most of them sprang out at me.
Well, it's been very enjoyable indeed, because I don't usually get to see such a wide range of artworks, especially from young people. A lot of the work I do involves perhaps dealing with people of retirement age and looking at their artwork. So for me to come and there, be able to look at young people's work is a really interesting experience, and I've been amazed by the variety and the incredible artwork that's been produced.
What's caught your attention most? Because everyone looks for something different, and you're an artist.
Yeah.
What do you look for?
It's a difficult question. I think, irrespective of what you do yourself, or perhaps where your allegiances lie in terms of subject matter and things like this, the first thing that tends to jump out is, that's the great thing about young people's artwork, is they often haven't had to worry about the rules of perspective and drawing and getting things right, which tends to bog people down and tie them down. So they're more at liberty to just express themselves, and I think that's obvious as soon as you see a work by a younger person, you know what they're interested in and how they've approached it, and generally it tends to be a lot freer and looser than something done by someone who is aware of the rules as they are of art. So it's interesting to see, you know, just the people's personality on the page.
First thing to say is well done to everybody that submitted anything. I was staggered at the number of entries, and sometimes art competitions don't get as well supported as this one has, but there are a lot of entries there across the board, so really well done to everybody. There's a combination of things that struck me, a combination of things. Firstly, the amount of really colourful work there was, and I do like colouring work, but actually conversely, the amount of stuff that was really, really well drawn, that was kind of black and whitish. There was some lovely tonal stuff in there as well, particularly amongst the bigger pastels, softer pastels. So really good selection across the board.
Top tips for artists for next year's competition. What should they think about doing? Should they be radical and break out from what they like doing?
Yeah, they certainly should be. I mean, for all artists, the trick is to learn the trade, but actually then try and reinvent it and do it differently and do it in a new kind of way. So have an idea what you'd like to achieve out of the finished picture, but don't be afraid to pile in there, and if it goes wrong, you can always start again. You know, it's a bit of paper or it's a bit of canvas with paint on it. You can always paint over it if it's a canvas. So don't be afraid, get in there and have fun, and if you're not totally happy with it, start again.
So in summary, what do you think have you seen, or what you've seen for the Linkage ArtBeat 2015?
Cracking stuff. I know the plan is to have an exhibition of the work, and also potentially to have a calendar made of some of the winning entries as well. I can't wait to see the calendar, because I think the calendar will be a really good seller. So again, congratulations and well done, and I look forward to seeing more next year.
Photography is very subjective, and everybody has their own sort of visions when they take a picture, so to judge other people's visions is incredibly difficult, but I think everybody's done really well.
Are you surprised by the standard in a way, and the range of sort of pictures you see there?
The standard has been really high. The standard has been absolutely excellent, which has made the decision even more difficult, but yeah, I've really enjoyed doing it. It's been brilliant.
Well, I think they're very good. I mean, when you come into the room and see all the entries, it's very striking, because I think the kids have been a bit daring, and there's a lot of photoshopping around, and I looked primarily at the ones that catch my eye, and those quite often were the ones that were photoshopped. There's some which are kind of traditional photography, beautiful scenes, woodland scenes, particularly around here, and the squirrel. All that's normal photography, but then the Photoshop ones really hit you, and you think, that's very clever.
As somebody who loves photography themselves, are you big on Photoshop? Do you appreciate what Photoshop does, or would you rather people left them alone?
I'm bemused by it, because I can't do photoshopping myself. My son actually does it with some of my photographs, and they all emerge as grotesque. But I admire the adventurousness of the young people who have done it. They really are risk takers, you know. They've taken a photograph, which may be a fairly ordinary kind of photograph, not striking at all, and made it into something, made it into a work of art. and I think that's a real skill. So I'm encouraged to see that there's that much skill around in people so young as this. I think it's very cheering for photography. And, you know, I hope the fact that you've got a good entry this year, and I think we've picked some winners, encourages a bigger entry next year. It's good to see people taking up photography and taking risks and adventurousness with the way they treat the photographs.
It's been excellent to have been asked to judge the competition here today, and the standard's been brilliant, and there's very diverse pictures as well. With there's scenery pictures, and we've also had pictures of people as well, which is great. And from my point of view, it's been very interesting coming along here this morning to try very hard to pick an eventual top 3, and then highly commended as well.
It's not surprising you may look at it from a newspaper editor's point of view, but then what do you look for in a photograph? What should people think about for the future about entering a competition like this?
I think it's a very personal thing. I think something that I look for in a picture would be completely different to what yourself would look for in a picture. From a newspaper point of view, we look for something that's interesting and that's going to catch the reader's eye. So I went for the entries that I found being drawn to myself right from the off. So what I would say to people is just get out there and take some pictures.